Hello, friends. Welcome back to our very first episode of the year of your morning cup of Q and J. I know it's 2021. I don't know how excited are you about 2021. I'm impartial. I'm excited. I don't know, and I think this is what we are going to talk about today. Of course, here with me is my partner in crime, Q. So, Q, what's up? Um how's 2021?
It was nice for about 5 days. It was quite nice. I think it just because I was kind of tuned out from a lot of news and I was on break and just very happily oblivious to most everything in the world. Um, I think there's a giant elephant in the room, and the January
Yes,
6th happened.
yes,
So I think my favorite summation is like that someone made a joke about. It's like 2020 got weird and 2021 said, "Hold my beer."
yes,
It's like,
exactly.
all right. And then I was like, it was in this strange moment, and I mean, it's extremely upsetting. It's a strange moment where I was like, I saw what was happening in the news, and I went, "Am I supposed to be working during a coup?" It's like,
Yeah.
is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I know I got deadlines. Should I work or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's I think such a disgrace what
Mhm.
happened. And yeah, there's I think on so many different levels. I think yeah my m- I think my more primary reaction is more disappointment.
Mm,
Very disappointed. I was angry, I was annoyed, but I think disappointment. I think what was more on the top.
yeah, no, I think I don't think I was surprised per se.
Mm.
I was like, I think actually during the elections, um, everything sort of, I hate being right. But I
Yeah,
was like, I mean, there's certain things that you like being right about. I had a feeling that Joe Biden will probably win, but it'll be close, and it was quite
hmm,
close. And you're like, oh, electoral college. And I'm like, I think I say it's close. I'm like, if you have a person in the White House, an occupant, who commits so much crime in less than 4 years, gets impeached, and he's still getting like almost 50% of the popular vote. He didn't get it like 50%, but like, it's not like 10%.
yeah,
That to me is like, that's too close,
yeah,
Um, and I had a sort of sinking feeling. I'm like, the transition will happen, but it'll be very ugly.
hmm,
And I was just sort of sitting there when I was watching everything unfold. I was sort of in a state of numbness of like,
yeah,
I hate being right. And I think what also was really upsetting is like, I woke up, one of my best friends had texted me a video of Tucker Carlson having a fucking meltdown, which is always
okay,
really fun to watch. Tucker Carlson having a
yes,
meltdown is hilarious. And because of Georgia. And, woke up and I said, oh, this is great. Like, you know, Georgia turned really blue, which is phenomenal because that's really
hmm,
about. I think it was like the amount of people who voted who were not able to vote previously,
hmm,
despite all the gregarious voting
yeah,
restrictions that had been in place. I'm like, that is, for me, I'm like, that's democracy working. It's like everyone, almost everyone can vote, you know, that's great.
hmm,
So I woke up to that. I got an email. It's like, Quinn, your paper that you worked on for like 3 years ago is finally accepted for publication. I had just gotten, and one of my goals of 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic was to get actually really healthy. So I was
hmm,
like, exercising a lot and trying to see like, okay, let's see how I'm progressing with my health journey. And I was
yes,
really excited. I had put on 2 pounds of muscle. I had lost a pound
good,
of fat. Yeah, I was very excited.
good,
So
yeah,
I was like walking on air, and I was like, I just got coffee. I'm so excited. I was really walking on air. I was like, I'm like, I made the mistake of saying, how much better can today get?
yeah,
Never, just never say that. And then, every Wednesday I'm supposed to have this like meeting with my research center.
hmm,
our director, Marty, sent out this email like less than a minute before the meeting starts. He's like, I'm canceling this. If you're not tuned into the news, you should really, he never does this, by the way. So I turned on the TV and I just, it was just like, it's going from this emotional high of like, everything's amazing. And like, to like, what the, like, I think the first words I said was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah. And it's funny you brought up that physical health for 2021, and actually that's one of the things that I've been doing too. And for me is so for me, I don't really set New Year resolution. I don't do that. Instead, I every couple like 3 to 6 months I will have a plan and I will what tasks and goals. So you could overlay like New Year's or whatever. So one of them I started actually in Thanksgiving is that I am cutting off down 50% of my carbs
Oh, nice.
and replace it with 50% of veggies. So I already don't eat sugary stuff. So I started in Thanksgiving, like right after Thanksgiving. And I liked it, and I really picked it up like mid-December, because I like that transitional to start doing it. And one of the reasons is because I went to my doctor's for physical health, like physical checks, annual physical check. And they bought this new machine that they weight you while you're sitting down, while they take your blood pressure. And it showed that I'm 161 pounds. So I think the machine is broken because there's no way I'm 161 pounds. So, and I did double check that. I think there's something wrong with the machine. Yeah, the machine is really cool. You sit down, they do everything at one shot, your blood pressure, like all that whole thing, weight. So anyway, so I've been doing is I want to at least get my flat stomach back ish. I'm aiming for the moon, which is getting my 6 packs back, but which most likely is not going to happen. But if I can, get to like Mount Whitney, that would be awesome, So yeah, so I've been doing so once a while, meaning that once a week or every couple of, like depends. I would have quote unquote a cheat day. So I still remember last Wednesday on the 6th, I woke up in the morning, I just wanted fried chicken. I just wanted fried chicken so bad. And around noon, I was watching my friend's dog. So I took her out for a walk. And I walked by this burrito place, taco place down the street from my apartment. It's awesome. I've been to that place a couple of times before the pandemic. I was walking by. I was debating that if today should be my cheat day or not. Specifically, I was craving for Nashville hot chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So guess what? I walked by that burrito place and they were giving out free burritos.
Free?
Free. Each burrito from their place is about $12. They're giving out as the way that to thank the community. So they only give it out between 11 to 1 p.m. Whatever you want, they give out. I was like, and then one of their newer item is Nashville fried chicken burrito. I was like, oh my, this is like the sign from the world that this is like, so I got it, free burrito. I was so happy, just kind of like you, that I already lost a couple of pounds. It's going to be my cheat day. I mean, and it was a nice day. There was a park just around the corner. I just want to eat this yummy, delicious Nashville fried chicken burrito. I was so excited. And I went to the park. I saw this friend of mine, with this person. She always at the park with her dog. And I just want to enjoy my burrito. And she started telling me about, JR, have you seen the news? I was like, what news?
Oh no.
And then she just pulled out her phone and started showing me. I was like, no, it just ruined my fried chicken moment.
Oh man, but if there's a
My
time
cheat day,
fried,
my only cheat day was fried chicken. Ruined it, gone.
I'm like, if there is gonna be one of those days where you're just like, it's a cheat day, you're like, that's the one. You know, at that point, I remember I was just staring. I think I probably ate like cookies and crackers. I was just in, it was, I'm like, there's, if that's, I'm so sorry, your cheat day was like, welcome to the Nashville fried chicken burrito day. It was free, and now watch as people attend a coup. Attempt a coup.
Yes, yes.
Oh my God, man, that's, see, as like, yeah, I think it was just such a whiplash day. You know, I think if I had been more in tune with the news, you know, but I was really trying to act like, starting with 2021, I was trying so hard to be like, you know, I have to read the news for work. That's my job.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just so tired at the end of 2020 that I was like, I'm going to take a media break. That's so important. And it was great. So I was like, you know, January 6th was like sort of like the second day I was kind of back into being like, all right, what's going on? You know, it's like, and it was such a whiplash where it's like, oh, you weren't paying attention for 2 weeks. Here you go. I still recommend for everybody to like do, like, someone was telling me like one thing that he and his wife do once a month is they do like a media cleanse, like a media
Oh
detox day,
yeah,
where
yes, yeah.
they don't really check their phones, they don't do
Mhm.
anything digital, they read like books, like physical books, and they meditate and they journal, and I was like, that sounds
Yes.
nice.
Yeah,
um
yeah.
yeah, so I was like, I still recommend it because I don't think the constant being constantly tuned into the news is healthy. It's just, it's
No.
not. But I mean, I remember that was, I did have that moment. I was just like, holy shit, is this what happens when I don't pay attention to news? I'm like, no, no, no. It was always going to happen, you know,
Oh
regardless.
yes, yes. And I think didn't the FBI, head of FBI last summer testified at the Congress saying that the biggest threat to this country is the white nationalists. The
Yes. Yeah.
FBI for years been coming out reports to the Congress saying that one of the highest, biggest threats of this country and within the country is the white nationalists, white supremacists, white racists. And they've been saying this for years. I'm talking about, you know, so yeah, part of me, I'm not surprised too. At the same time, yeah, it's fucked up. And kind of
Yeah.
back to that news that you were talking about. Yeah, I know for you it's hard because that's part of your job to do
Yeah.
to go through news. And so for me is for years now, I only spent every day 10 minutes
Mm.
uh, on news. I will open NPR, I will open Political, Bloomberg, and I just scan through the titles because by now, but like a lot of these titles are bullshit. You know that they just try to click bites, even with respect for news outlets. Unless something that I really don't know, I don't really read. Like I used to read a lot of news. That's why I
Mhm.
say that right now I don't really need to read that much. I just need to read the highlight that I know kind of what's going on. Unless I need to know the detail, like the detailed bills, the detailed actions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So on average, I spend about 10 minutes, 15 minutes max per day. Well, sometimes even less. Just watch those. Well, on my phone, on the app, I don't watch TV news and I'm
Mhm.
done. And then I have stopped using Facebook since December. I have stopped using Instagram. Oh, Instagram I still use it once a while because I have to watch those like puppy and kitten like
Oh
those
yeah.
baby
Oh
cats pictures and videos. So so I think by doing that I feel extremely relieved.
yeah. Mhm.
For years now I do not. I never allow media, news outlet to dictate how I feel, dictate how I live my day, even how fucked up Trump is, you know, this past 4 years at the same time. And that's how I kind of like just stick it to the respectful news sources. Just give me the facts, the real news, not fucking entertainment thing. And
Mhm.
that for me has been extremely helpful. And then personally, I don't read any of those news until around noonish. because in the morning, that's why the burrito, fried chicken thing, I didn't know because because for me, morning is like prime real estate. Mornings for me to create, to present, to write. I don't want anything to ruin my mornings. So I don't read news. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's like, I wish I could do the same. I think I try to mediate it where it's like, I have a routine now. So 2021, the thing I was most looking forward to, it's like finishing up some short film ideas, like obviously short documentary review, and or start, not, I don't know if we can finish everything we want to do in like a year, but like starting it, like starting and finishing some other short film ideas, which I'm really excited about. So my boyfriend and I we're moving. We found our own place. We're moving out next month. We're really excited. Yeah, so it's a mixed income apartment housing, and it's near parks, and it's just, we're really excited because like, I think for me, one of the biggest things is always the built environment. We can always talk about this more, but like the built environment, and like, is your environment out where you live, and for me, with the thing that was always big is like, I really like and love being around parks and places that I can just go and walk. And where we currently live isn't really it's not the worst, but it's not like the best for that. So we're excited to be moving. That's something. And obviously for me, like my health journey is like, my goal is like to bust when the gyms back, like rock climbing gyms open again. It's to bust back in and be like, what's up, y'all? It's like I'm climbing at a stronger grade than I was previously, and more importantly, it's like to read more. But one thing that I think for me was the most difficult, and I think a lot of women, especially Asian American women, can relate to this. We're all surprised I'm Asian American. It's like, and I'm a woman. Whoops. And there's the gender and racial dynamics and how they intersect in the U.S. I'm very familiar with. And that day, I remember I was just in a numb. Hold on.
Is that the little one? Or
this is the big one. She was so good. She was so good. Her name is Perfect.
Where's the little one?
She's at my feet too. Hold on. Here you go.
Oh my God, the little one. There's a baby.
The baby. Hey, say hi. You're getting recorded.
Oh my God, so cute.
I know. So these two were helping me so much during everything that was happening. Like I think if you're able to, now is the best time to adopt, a fuzzy friend, or a little animal friend. It is a good time because we're going to be in, it's getting worse, and you have to stay inside. And honestly, I can guarantee that my mental health would be a lot worse if I didn't have them, because cats, especially cats, are so in the moment. They have no, I remember when it's like, I was watching this, like, I was watching these domestic terrorists, like, just invading and raiding the Capitol, and I was just like, just in horror. I'm watching these images, I'm horrified, and both my cats are like, Treats, what's going on? It's like, I'm right here. I don't know what you're watching, but I'm right here. So it was such a needed relief. But that same day, and I think I mentioned it briefly, but I'll go into a bit. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. So I'd started the day like on this big like positive high, and I was all excited, and then the coup attempt happened, and I was in this state of just sort of numb. Like, I think when you say disappointed, was like, that is absolutely the feeling I said. I was like, I'm disappointed that I'm right. I'm not surprised, but it's still shocking. It's still like a shock to the system. It's different when you see your modeling happen in theory, happen in real life. You're like, this is my theory, and oh, there it goes. But so I think I continued the rest of my day with my routines as best as I could. I did like my HIIT workout with my friend on Zoom, and then I did a Pilates class with my friend on Zoom too. And that's, I had to keep my schedule. And every Wednesday, my boyfriend and I, we like to pick up food from Kava, which is like it's like the Chipotle of Mediterranean food. So
Oh yeah, combos. Yeah, yes.
yeah, it's yummy, right?
Yeah.
So we like to do that's like our Wednesday night is kind of like our cheat night ish.
Uh-huh.
But I wanted to go pick up dinner, and you know, as where I currently live is there's a lot of Trump supporters, like a lot. They're very proudly like going. I've heard people going like, "Oh, it's like that COVID is a conspiracy attempt by a Democrat." And I'm like, "What the?" It's like a
Yeah.
lot of, and they're very rich.
Yes.
They're
And you live in Orange County, right?
Yeah, I live
Yeah,
on,
there's a lot of them in Orange County. Yeah.
yeah, like where I'm at, where we're currently at, is like rife with a lot of those types of people. Like, I don't know if people remember, or there was, before the election, Trump held like a fundraising event, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's in Newport Beach, and like, it's like, it was covered in the news. Well, guess what? That was a couple blocks down from where I live.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it was like, I remember all day I was hearing these stupid car horns honking and these
Yeah.
Trump flag going around. So that's where I currently live.
Yeah.
So
So just one funny quote. I was listening to David Chang's podcast,
Mhm.
and David Chang, I think, last couple of years has becoming really outspoken on social issues, and which is really awesome. So he had this guest on a Hispanic Mexican writer who created. I forgot his name, but he was born and grew up in Orange County too, and they were talking about all the racism. They were saying that California actually is a hotbed for white supremacists.
oh yeah.
And he was saying that Orange County, they were making fun of Orange County. There's that Orange County. I'm rephrasing it. He said something like, "And me living, I spent a number of years in Orange County too. Is that he said that Orange County is the only spot in the United States that you can come in to this country as fresh out the boat, and overnight they will turn you to become white supremacists or racists, something like hating your people and love white people." Like, it's the only spot that can do that overnight to you. And I've seen it, growing up in LA, in Orange County. I have seen a lot of my Asian Vietnamese family friends. They think that they are white, and
Oh
they
yeah.
hate other Asians, and they hate blacks. They think they hate. Anyway, it's bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, Orange County is like, as I've lived here, the irony of me being back here has not eluded me. But I think Orange County, like, it depends. It also kind of sort of like, I always look for pockets of within Orange County, like Orange County at large. I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. I think in other areas like Santa Ana, like Santa Ana, even pockets in Irvine it's a strange county.
Oh,
I know,
yeah.
it's a strange pockets in Irvine. Like, you find some of the most progressive, left-leaning, like saying like, hey, we need to be. I was like, it's a weird county.
It is. And Huntington Beach, I think it's one of the worst ones.
Oh my
It
God.
is my God. And that's
Yeah.
where I spent a couple of years at, like when I was
Oh my God.
younger.
Yeah. They're the worst. They're like, I was literally walking on the beach, just taking a nice little afternoon walk some months ago, and I just saw like a fucking like white supremacist group just meeting there. Like, they had the fucking flag and just being like, it was bright day, and like we need to get the non-white side of this country, and I was like, this is awkward. I'm just walking like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go this way. See ya.
Yes, yeah.
I was just playing Pokemon Go. I'm just playing Pokemon Go. I'm like, I'm going. So yeah, Huntington Beach is like, it's a fucking worst. Like, and I think where I currently live is like very close to that area.
Mhm.
And I do like, I love my roommate. I'm gonna miss her a lot. And I just was, but it was one of those things. I'm like, my boyfriend and I'm like, yeah, it's our time for our own place, and he found this nice area that's like, it's in Irvine, but Irvine's so weird. Like, some pockets of Irvine, you're like, ugh. But some pockets are like, you have mixed income families, which is like,
Yes,
those are the cool spots. And we're close to, if you hear noises, it's my cats just playing in the background. It's like close to like, Tustin, Santa Ana. So you have it's like this interesting little like, it's technically Irvine, but it's like in this little like intersection.
Yeah, okay. I know
Yeah,
what you're
so we're
talking
like,
about. Yeah, so be around, yeah, since they're not testing. Yeah, okay, I know.
yeah. So we're like, we had one somewhere that was like quiet, safe, but also like our neighbors aren't douchebags, and like
Yeah.
perfect. But that's the good news. But what was really and I had been, on top of getting Nook, and I was like, we need more space because she's a kitten and she needs to run
Mhm.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But like I think Wednesday night I went out to get kava, and you know, like so I just had this whole spiel about like where I live around a bunch of white supremacists and Nazis and Trumpers and whatnot. And I'm in line, picking up dinner, my usual order. And this group of 4 white boys come in behind me. And I just heard this noise, and I was like, I kind of just turned, and I was like, what? I'm wearing a mask, and they're wearing a mask too. I guess kind of turned, and I was like, oh, it's weird. Like, what's that large? Like, it's just weird to hear such so much noise. But what was really upsetting was like they weren't like physically touching me, but they were like kind of like swooping in, like coming in, like almost like swooping in, like trying to see
Yeah.
like how close they could get to me. And on top of like it's a fucking pandemic, keep your fucking distance. And I think it was that kind. It was such a weird moment because I had this immediate like vibe and like this vibe, and a lot of women can relate to this. You just have
Mhm.
this vibe, like I don't feel safe. I don't like this. Like they are giving me a bad vibe, and I remember as they just kept swooping in, like getting louder and swooping in and like getting as close to me as possible. But like it was every boy like had their
Yeah.
moment. It was like full. It was fucking harassment, and no one was doing anything because like it was so funny. They're just boys, they're just boys. Haven't heard that before. And
Yeah.
I also don't look like 31. I'm 31. Woo! But like I don't really look 31 to most people who are white, so they probably assumed I was around their age or whatever, at the mask too. But
Mhm.
I remember that feeling, and I just automatically I started thinking, I just started almost going into this like alert setting where it's just like, where are my keys in my pocket? Where do I like, when do I hit this person? Like if the moment if they touch me in any inappropriate way, how can I grab their hand, and like,
Mhm.
how can I, because that was one of those moments where I'm like, typically when I'm in a situation like that, I leave, but I was ordering food and there was no way for me to de-escalate it because it was like, they're just like, they're a gang of 4 boys and like white, and they looked very well off. So they're like swooping in and hollering and like whooping. And it was just almost like how much can we disrespect this woman, this
Yeah.
person space? And I start thinking like, okay, where are my keys? Where do I hit in their face, their neck, to like
Yeah.
defend
Yeah.
myself? How quickly can I dial 911? How do I get out of here? Where's my escape? How many people are around me? It was just like such an automatic thing of like, how can I get out of the situation? And
Yes.
I think the first time I told it to other people, I think it was it was a week ago, not a week ago, like to my work, my voice was shaking because I was so scared.
Mm.
And I think when I got home, like, I left, I got my food, and in a good way, because they were a group. This is like a gaggle of 4 white boys. They're like, we
Mhm.
have to stick together. So they had to like wait for them to for one another to like pay. I was able to
Yeah.
get out of there like really, really fast and get to my car, check that no one was following me, and then like go. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I got home, I told 2 of my girlfriends, and before I finished, uh, my sentence, they immediately, like both of them Asian American women, and they just said like, I don't, you don't have to say the whole thing. Like I know exactly what just happened,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they're like, that's how prolific that kind of predatory violence is. And actually, and I told my boyfriend immediately, he was livid, and he was like,
Mhm.
and he was just like, just gotta move, we gotta get out of here. It's like it's not safe.
Yeah.
And a very close friend of mine, we've known each other for, let's see, almost 8 years now. And I told him what happened because I was asking for advice and self-defense. And he said, like, he broke it down like there's 2 types of violence. There's predatory violence where you see someone as like a resource or something. And
Mhm.
there's social violence where you aim to get social, you have some kind of social gain. And kind of,
Mhm.
it was a whole breakdown of different types of violence. But I remember just thinking to
Yes.
myself, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like they were actively
Yeah.
harassing me. And it was the vibe that I got. I remember when I was just in that situation that they just kept swooping in and like, you know, trying to like get in my space
Yeah.
was almost like, what are you going to do? The police aren't on your side. The police are on our side. You can't do anything. What are you going to do? And it was like that kind of like joy of like seeing themselves, like seeing other people that look like them on TV getting away with whatever they wanted. Like, we can do whatever we want to. Whether or not that's true, you know, that's not the point. It's the fact that they were even thinking like that and behaving like that. There's no consequences to our behavior. So I think for me personally, it's like when people say, oh, it's just like, it's just TV. I'm like, well, it's not though, because when people see certain behaviors on the screen, they think that's normal. They're like, oh, it's only normal. And that's fine if I behave that horribly to other people. Because look on TV, like I see them harassing non-white people and they're getting away with it. I've harassed this woman just because like I can get away with it too. And these are boys, you know. I don't want to hear this shit of like, yes, boys. I'm like, fuck that shit. I would beat the hell out of them if they ever touch me. Yeah.
Yeah, because especially they're just boys, you know, and specifically white boys. And at the moment they're black boys, they'll call the cops and get arrested, you know. So that whole thing that boys are going to be boys, it's just another very subtle excuse for white boys to get away with things, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, so sorry, Q, that you have to go through that. And I think, like what your friend is saying, that like, I bet you those boys are probably thinking that like it's cool, it's fun, and it's kind of like part of their quote unquote initiation, right? Whatever, you know, whatever in their head, you know, it's cool, it's what they do, you know, and they have to make a point, they have to prove themselves, or they have to prove to each other how macho manly they are, and then and yeah, it just, but it just set up harassment, you know. They are just being such a disrespectful, you know, and I totally agree with you that like what you just said, that like they most likely in their head they think that they can get away with it.
Yeah. And I think I think so. 2021 is already, it's been like the like 2020 was weird, and 2021 so I hold my beer. I think my favorite meme, you know, I think my other favorite, like if people are familiar with Pokemon, I love Pokemon, so I'm not gonna apologize. I remember there was this meme going around that was like, you know, Jesse and James, they're like, prepare for trouble, and it's like make it double, and so like Jesse is like 2020 and James is like 2021. I was like, oh shit. And you know, I think yeah, 2021, I know things are going to get better. I know if history has shown is that we humans have a pretty consistent behavioral pattern at large. I know things will get better. I know they're going to be terrible right now. For the most part, we've got COVID, we've got a mutated strain, we've got a coup attempt, a couple other more coup attempts. It's going to be bad. I think for me personally, it's like I share that experience not to make people upset, just to be like, look, this happened. Like this, we need to look at reality and accept reality where it is right now and say like this shit is serious. I'm in California. People think it's the haven of like liberalism. It's like it ain't, you know. And I was like, if images of you know, DC under attack from white domestic terrorists is initiating and instigating similar behavior so locally, like even where I'm at, like this shit is serious. And I'm hopeful towards like I want to share that because I want people to understand the gravity of where we're at, and also be like, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm like, but I'm okay. Also, I said, okay, I'm moving. It was like, that's the most solution. I'm able to, and I'm very lucky. But it's also like, how am I going to process this episode? What am I going to make? How am I going to make sense of it? So I think for anything, I'm like, I'm going to take my experience. I am incredibly grateful that I'm okay and I'm safe. And I'm going to be like, I'm going to like, I really want people to understand. I'm like, this is not, especially, as you and I have talked about the Asian American experience constantly being like, oh, Asians don't have mental health issues. I don't know what you're talking about, and it's like, we have a lot of issues that I want people to know, like, especially the sort of violence that Asian American women face, especially in the context of a white supremacist society. It is. There's no getting around it, and which we're working to change. But the kind of violence that we experience in a white supremacist society that has a history of going to the Asian continent and colorizing the shit out of it and seeing Asian women as prizes, but not actual people. Like that history, that legacy is still carrying on over today. And I want, as like, it's like to be like, oh yeah, that was just like so 20th century. I'm like, no, it's 21st century. It's still happening, and we can work together to make sure it never happens again. We have to. The only way we can do that is if we fucking talk about it. So.
Yes. So and kind of last year I gave 2 anti-Asian racism and mental health workshops. One is to this Fortune 100 company, and the feedback I got is that like, oh my God, like, why is this not mandatory? Like, why, like, no one, the company, I'm a multi-billion-dollar company, like, and employees, it was like, why this conversation never ever came up within the company? It should, like, so the idea behind it is that like, it's there's the same bullshit has been happening over and over again, and I'm just, at the same time, I'm just really glad that, I think for the first time in a long time, the Black voters, for example, using this as an example, in Georgia, I think they have finally found their voice, find their power, and I think finally that they are able to step on the national stage, and really start holding even the Democrats responsible, accountable, because like the Democrats, yes, they are a little better than Republicans, but they haven't done much, to really help the Black communities. And I think for the first time in a long time that the Democrats they are going to be held accountable by these Black voters from Georgia, I think. So which is, it's not much, but at least it's something, and it just,
yeah. No, I think you're right. I think with the work of Stacey Abrams and a lot of community organizers and activists, it was amazing. I think what's like, I remember actually one of the things that did legitimately surprise me on the coup attempt day was I saw Joe Biden, he got on TV, and I was like, okay, like, this is where we're at, I'm waiting for Joe Biden to say something. And he called them domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
And I was like, that shocked me. I was like, whoa.
It's about time.
I was like, what? No, I was like, no. And then he said, like, did you see how they responded to Black Lives Matters protesting for racial justice and equity? And I'm just sitting there going like, what? Wait, what? No. And here's the thing. It's like, that's the standard the bare minimum standard I expect. But it's weird to see it from a centrist Democrat. I'm like, what is happening? And I think that's and people can be like, oh, Joe Biden, that's the bare minimum. I get it. Of course, it's the bare minimum. But I'm sitting there being like, this is the bare minimum from a centrist Democrat. I don't have very high standards for centrist anybody. And I think, if anything, that gave me a glimmer of hope. I'm like, the activism from people who are demanding justice, for historical and current injustices. I was like, it's working. Like, you got the president-elect calling that, like, saying it. Yeah, like, I would never, if you told me a year ago, Joe Biden is going to be the president-elect and he's going to be acknowledging the work of Black Lives Matter, and he's going to be calling white supremacists, white nationalists, domestic terrorists, I'd be like, what?
No.
How high are you?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, he actually said that. I was like, oh, there we are. So it works.
Yes. Awesome. So to wrap it up, let's do some rapid fire. This is one rapid fire. So what, very fast, what else are you looking forward to 2021?
Minari, the movie, the film Minari, is being released next month.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. It's a film that takes place in the 80s, and it stars Stephen Yoon. And it's about a Korean immigrant family that goes to Arkansas in the 80s, and I
Oh,
really want
wow.
to see that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so that I'm really looking forward to. And at large, I'm looking forward to when it's safe enough to go to movie theaters again. That's
Yeah.
like I'm like movie theaters. I just like I have to. So
Yeah. So for me, I am, I feel really good, very inspired
mhm.
with my, I know this is going to sound kind of pompous and weird. Just overall with my work. Oh my gosh, he is so cute. I love that little cute little stash by him.
Mhm.
Is because last year, from between August and December, like my business just kind of blew up, and I just feel really excited, very thankful for all the opportunities, and my projection for this year is continue this momentum, which I'm really looking forward to. We're very excited because it boils down to what I love to do, which is to teach, to talk about mental health and diversity and inclusion and rights and network. So I'm really looking forward to how this year is going to unfold. So far, even by January 15, I have so many different opportunities and projects already lining up, which is very just for me, it's very exciting, very exciting. So to just I know I don't have a specific one, but just overall this just that I am able to continue to do what I love to do. I think that's what I'm very excited and looking forward to in 2021.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's exciting. Congratulations
Yeah,
too.
thank you. So, all right then. So, all right, Keith, thank you so much for sharing your story, and I'm really sorry that harassment happened, and hopefully just hopefully our listener, people listening can be a little bit more aware about the detrimental effect of harassment on Asian American females' mental health, and just straight up, it's wrong.
Yeah.
So
Don't do
let's,
it.
yeah, don't do it. So let's continue the conversation, and yeah, so all right then. Until next time, have a great weekend or great week. So bye.
Bye everyone.